This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1414. You Can Prevent Bullying, What Parents Need to Know, by Amy Burzinski of ParentingSimply.com. Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. I'm Greg Adina, your host and narrator. Great to be back with you once again for another parenting post. And today we're going to be hearing Amy Burzinski's words, who is a guest author on the popular Parenting Simply blog that we read from pretty regularly. She's going to talk about what steps parents can take to prevent and manage bullying. Obviously a difficult topic for any parent to deal with, so much so that our emotions can easily take over and keep us from responding in the best way. So let's hear Amy's words of wisdom as we optimize your life. You Can Prevent Bullying, What Parents Need to Know, by Amy Burzinski of ParentingSimply.com. Last night, Danny, a second grade student, asked his mom whom she thought was the least popular boy in his class. Danny's mother was perplexed by his question. Why was he asking? Because, said Danny, he was the least popular. How did he come to this conclusion? Danny explained that being popular means being really good at basketball, because then everyone wants to be your friend. Danny's never picked to play, and when he speaks up for himself, his classmate Jaden says no, and leads the other boys in teasing him about stinking at sports. Danny's mom decided to call the mom of the popular boy Jaden to complain about the boy's behavior. She figured two adults could easily talk things through. Reasonable expectation, right? Not necessarily. It's hard to receive criticism. The other parent will be as protective of their child as you are of yours. They may deny their kid's negative behavior, not only to you, but also to themselves. Their natural reaction may include feeling upset and resentful at the mere suggestion of impropriety by their child. They may turn the tables and tell you what's wrong with your kid. Even with the best of intentions, a rational conversation about a highly sensitive topic is difficult to achieve. True, some parents will be diplomatic and listen and maybe even be apologetic when hearing what their own child did that was wrong. But you cannot expect this to be the case. Debbie, name change for privacy, a parent of 4, recalled an experience in which her 12-year-old son repeatedly experienced put-downs and name-calling from another student in his class. My husband and I called the parent and told the mother exactly what her son called our son, she said. The mother refused to believe that her son did this. When we told her that her son confessed his behavior to the principal, she then asked us why we went to the principal when we could have just called her instead. Over the years, I've talked to many parents who, in situations like this, tried to speak with the mother or father of a hurtful child. Other responses they received included, "It was an accident. He didn't mean to do it. You're making a big deal out of nothing. This is how boys act. Your kid is the bully." They have a casual relationship. What can a parent do when their child expresses hurt feelings caused by a peer? Should they just chalk it up to a normal life experience and maybe even a lesson in learning how to man up? Or, despite the risks, should they engage the other parents and give it their best shot? What happens if, despite your best intentions, the dialogue turns sour? Could you make things worse? When a child comes to a parent and expresses difficulty with a peer, usually they've already attempted to remedy the situation independently, unsuccessfully. Chances are, your child is coming to you because they've exhausted their own options and need your help. How might you help? Here are a few recommendations. Remain calm. I know, this is common sense, but in the heat of the moment, you'll be tempted to act impulsively. Give yourself time, at least a day, to think through your options and make a decision that is well considered and that you're less likely to regret later. Communicate with the school. Call or email to set up a meeting with your school administrator, and the teacher too, to discuss what you're hearing from your child. Stan Davis, author of Safe Schools for Everyone, Practical Strategies for Reducing Bullying and Empowering Bystanders in Bullying Prevention, recommends asking the school if the behavior you're describing is acceptable at the school. If the answer is no, then ask what the school plans to do to stop or reduce the behavior. If the answer is yes, and if you believe the behavior is unacceptable, you may need to talk with someone else in the school system. Listen. The Youth Voice Project is the first known large-scale research project that solicits students' perceptions about strategy effectiveness to reduce peer mistreatment in our schools. More than 13,000 teens in 31 schools have now completed the Youth Voice Project survey, focusing on what works and what doesn't work. What did these youth say? That the best help is simply having an adult to listen to them and following up to see if the behavior stopped or was continuing and giving further advice. Stan Davis further recommends staying calm while talking with your child. If parents show a lot of anxiety about an incident or if they grill the child repeatedly about what has happened, they can increase young people's anxiety. Ask your child what he or she has already tried. This stops us from advising our children to redo things that may already have made things worse for them or have not helped. Involving them in further brainstorming about what might work is an act of empowerment. Even when bullying behavior occurs off school grounds, such as over the internet or cell phone, including texting, it can affect your child's well-being in and ability to function at school. Keep a record and let the school know. Nancy Willard, author of Cyberbullying and Cyber Threats, Responding to the Challenge of Online Social Aggression, Threats and Distress, writes, quote, "Teens must know how to prevent becoming involved in an online risky situation, how to detect if there is some risk, and how to respond appropriately in such events. Teens also need to know how to make responsible choices based on solid values. And because they're still teens, it's important for parents to remain engaged to make sure they're making good choices." End quote. Remind yourself and your child that mean behavior is about them rather than you, and recognize that not everyone will like you. Help kids to discard their barometer of popularity. Friendship is about quality, not quantity. And if you look at it that way, every child can be popular. Although mean people are part of life and something that we all encounter, it still doesn't make it right. Be realistic with your child that we may not be able to change someone else's behavior, but we can always change our own. Most importantly, as parents, we are the number one role model for our children. What they want from us, first and foremost, is to be there for them. You just listened to the post titled, "You Can Prevent Bullying: What Parents Need to Know" by Amy Burzinski of ParentingSimply.com. And thanks a lot to Amy for this one. Really important insight on a crucial topic that admittedly doesn't come up enough on our show. Some great sources included too. I really like what she touched upon towards the end. Those reminders about mean behavior being about the person giving it out and the fact that not everyone will like you. For as valuable as the actionable parts of this post are, it's also critical that we nurture our children's feelings about being bullied and keep up with the cerebral part of the experience. We want to spring into action and talk to parents or the school system to prevent bullying. But when it comes to bullying that's already happened, bullying that isn't resolved, your child witnessing someone else getting bullied, or maybe microbullying that's hard to report, sometimes all we're left to do is sit with these difficult feelings and talk with our children instead of trying to fix things like a superhero. And it's within those conversations that we can set the example and show the composure that Amy talks about, which will go a long way. We can't always be problem solvers, but we can always be good listeners. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this one. I thank you as always for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this post. Enjoy your Friday, and I'll be back with you tomorrow for our Q&A episode. That's where your optimal life awaits.